timing Peanut and Cube actually have to kill him, which is where he's going to have a little bit of difficulty crashing this final wave. You can see he's actually being really cautious. He places the ward down. Peanut and Cube need to kill him right here, or top lane phase is over.
Well, right now, Peanut's going to go for the Rift Scuttler first. We'll knock that one up and take it down. Dread, I believe, was hoping that it spawned on the bottom side. Didn't happen. As we're checking out to see whether Peanut's going to come top. He's just not right.
They got a little bit more time granted to them because you can see here the King is still struggling to crash this final wave. And he's actually doing so in a pretty poor manner because he's so cautious because they didn't know about Rek'Sai. Now they have confirmation about where Rek'Sai is, so he can be a lot more liberal with the usage of his abilities and get the crash in on this Tom.
Grand entrance just for disengage there on the side of Life. Battle dances his way back out again, but you can see Afreeca Freecs so happy with how this is going bottom side. Zoomies to get the health back, and Senin can pop in and out to see whether he can deny aggro, things like that. It's exactly how we saw Lehens play so extraordinarily well with the Yuumi. It's being able to get in and out in an effective fashion.
Right. Clown Dragon is the first one of the game. And so we'll see if Dread ever wants to just attempt to solo it after he completes his jungle item, as currently aiming and sending, they're going to get the turret plate down in bottom. And so, remember, Afreeca's team composition, they want to be aggressive, they want to get advantages, but they're not the one that the onus is on in order to do so. A lot of the champions on the side of Gen.G fall off the later that the game ends up going, most notably the Tahm Kench, the Rek'Sai, and the LeBlanc, all things considered relative to the team comp. So the one saving grace will be the Xayah in the later stages, but so far everything is going fantastic right now for Afreeca.
Yeah, King goes back, gets himself some swiftness boots. He's not going to be tongue lashed to death by Cuvée this time, is what he's saying. Very close to picking up a Blade of the Ruined King here for aiming as item number 1. We'll see where he goes as far as the build is concerned. Most likely will be Essence Reaver, just to keep up with some of the scaling that Ruler will have. I actually really like it. As our final chapter comes down towards the bottom side, there's Life, grand entrance once
really
again.
Nice movement.
Yeah, that was really cute, but Life's going down very low. Kuzan in the mid lane, has to flash in order to get himself out. And Deceive is going to at least put his clone in the way of Dread so that the Q can't land, but bottom side, some really weird interactions there. Heal goes down from Ruler, but he does hold on to his flash.
Now Dread and UCal looking to convert the temporary advantage in mid priority over as a blue buff.
Yep, there's UCal that's able to grab that one as well. Peanut stole away theirs, but he took it himself, so Kuzan is the one that misses out.
Second turret plate.
Yeah, this lead is just gigantic on the bottom side of the map. Close to 20 CS, and I don't think we've seen Ruler at this kind of deficit for a really long time. He has been so incredibly consistent. Peanut understands that.
Oh, they gotta be careful.
Yeah, looking for the way in, gets the knock up. The Yuumi's in there, but look at...
That was so uncharacteristic out of Afreeca. Rek'Sai was visible for, I would say, at least 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was quite a long time, and aiming has flash available, so there was no reason to get knocked up that way. Now Gen.G, they're going to be able to convert this into a Cloud Dragon capture. Infernal will come up next, but even though they get some pressure relief, take a look at this. Watch how long Rek'Sai's on the script. You can see him. Yeah. And they don't even flash, so I'm not sure what aiming and Senin were maybe thinking right there, but Gen.G get a really much-needed breakdown in bottom lane, but they're still behind down there, as weird as that is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about what the interaction would have been had aiming flash a little bit earlier, because he does have Relentless Pursuit as well, but might have just been dead anyway with the fact that Battle Dance plus Grand Entrance can close a lot of distance, and then as soon as Peanut catches up, then it's going to be a bad time, but that's very glass half full. I think that the flash probably would have at least got them a little bit further because Zoomies giving you the extra movement speed. Yuumi does attach to Dread, keeps him alive for the moment, but that will mean that Shelly is going to go down. Dread trying to get out, but does have an extra shield. Summoner Airy comes back up again. Dread's trying to get his health back. As you can see, Zoomies are in there. Life, he is going to spot aiming. Good Relentless Pursuit, get himself over the wall.
They really want
Freecs,
the patience
they're trying to either get the reset or get the steal. Final chapter coming out here as Cube goes down very low. Has the stopwatch, but will be out of this. Gen.G are on the board in a huge way after a difficult early game.
That was so they could just run up to mid lane and just plant it down right away, put all the gold into Ruler.
Yep, that's what they want to do. They might be able to get some more bottom side as well because there are 5 stacks down here. Shelly pops over the wall, and that is going to be a hell of a lot of money here for Ruler. That's the first one.
Lane. They really want to continue to get some plates as there is going to be temporary relief as Xayah has yet to return to the laning phase. So Kuzan still locked up down here. He does have life with him, which does have...
This Fed, they've sort of transformed what their composition is capable of based on the fact that Ruler is just so huge. We're going to have a look at this fight one more time. Just watch life. The 3-man knock-up as well as the quickness onto 4 was just so close. Yeah,
the Patience almost ends up resetting right here. It looked like they were just going to be able to kill Cube, but he's able to utilize his stopwatch. And then right here, Keen goes for a flash. He gets locked up. He had Sennen available. If he gets the kill on Cube, everyone on Gen.G will just melt.
Yeah.
Because the World Ender passive will end up resetting. That's going to be the go button for the rest of the Afreeca members. And so, extremely important.
Cat book. But the bullet hell just straight up didn't work because Cube went into stopwatch. Ruler tanked a fair bit of the culling, but we didn't get any roots really apart from Cube. But like we said, stopwatch that one. Absorbed a lot of that pressure. That is still...
Second support. He's going to be a Tahm Kench that's a little bit tankier and able to do a little bit more damage than a traditional Tahm Kench support. But he will fall off later in the game. So Ruler, though, with the massive advantage that he currently has right now, is going to need to put the rest of Gen.G on his shoulders as he can carry them through to victory. Infernal Dragon coming up in 10 seconds. They definitely want to get that. I'm not sure if Keen's rotating down for it, or if they're just going to give it up.
Yeah, maybe they just don't feel strong enough. I have a feeling if they do give it up, though, it will be largely the first of many nails in this coffin. Peanut's just going to go over, and it looks like Afreeca Freecs just won't have a way in.
I really hope that we get... Okay, Rek'Sai, 158. Here we go. So a long sword and a half.
Yep. And what is that, like a medium-sized sword?
What? Maybe that's like...
I feel like the scale is really Starbucks, though, with the swords, because you got BF sword, which is really big, and then long sword, which is already... I mean, apparently Runeterra's flat, so we've gone wrong right from the beginning.
I'm going to need you to apologize.
I think I'm going to need to attend that physics lecture again. I obviously didn't get a pass in that particular grade. Sorry, guys, if you've just joined us. That was from a previous conversation during the initial pause for this series. Currently, but not over just yet, and Yukao can certainly turn things with this Xayah, and if the Aatrox can actually get work done, then Keen can be a very dominating force as well. So this composition from Gen.G is very strong. Now has the Infernal Drake, and that is fantastic for them, but there is hope for the Afreeca squad, and Gen.G cannot rest on their laurels just yet. Conquering Sands from Yukal, and is going to be able to keep that mid lane outer turret alive, despite Shelly having her way with it earlier on.
The really problematic thing, aside from the 4,000 gold differential between the two teams right now in the Infernal Dragon and the Clown Dragon, is look at the level disparity between some of the champions right now. You have a 1-level lead inside of the mid lane, a 3-level lead.
That is so
inside of the AD carry. So, I mean, it's a little bit.
Would you say you're impressed?
I'm a little impressed. This is like when...
Ruler took one of his worst laning phases and turned it into probably one of his most impressive mid-games. It's just really crazy.
He rolled really well.
He did.
That's very talented.
Yeah.
In order to do that. Don't you love when you go up against a rank 3?
Yeah.
At like level 4?
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah,
That's what Afreeca's doing right now.
My favorite is when it's actually just a really terrible rank 3, and then you beat them in like 3 rounds later. Yeah, like they get a rank 3 Rex. That feels bad, man.
Yeah.
But even like rank 3 Tristana feels pretty awful.
Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah,
that's really
so
gross.
bad.
Yeah.
But you see people with it all the time because Trist is like such a common drop, right? And so like it happens in like round 3, and you're like, yeah, okay, you might have a rank 3 Tristana now, but that's going to be some gold later in the game. You
know what is a really rare rank 3 that I haven't gotten to see all that much?
What's that?
It's
Aatrox?
No, it's actually Vigar.
Oh, yeah.
Don't see him that much. People just seem to give up on him because of his passive requires him to have ranks over the opponents. So it's really rare to see him at rank 3, but when he is there, sometimes
it's real scary.
Yeah, sometimes it's exciting. It's a little mini Thanos.
Might have to make that comp work. Also works really well in a Yordle composition. Have yourself a Nara and a Lulu as well. Lulu pretty busted, but let's go back to the League of Legends. There's some Raptor camps were contested, but this is the lull state, as you so effectively coined, LS. Not a whole lot of action, as the Baron's going to be spawning in 40 seconds time. Cloud Drake going to be the next one, and that's going to be up in a minute. A lot of running fast for Gen.G is going to be a great news story for them, to be perfectly honest. They want to be getting around this map as swiftly as possible. Cuvee doesn't really want to spend time in this lane anymore because Keen has a lot of the items that he wants, and Cuvee's weird fire cape is not really going to help him all that much.
Aatrox dominates this matchup right now, although...
In goes Yukal, looking for the delivery, does get himself a flash.
It's like they're playing on 60 FPS or something. Everything is so slow. The Lucian flash in bottom lane against Peanut.
Yeah.
That almost looked like the same kind of delay.
Well, I think that it was sort of like the mind games, though, you know, because he could have shifting sensed his way in, and then you could have just got a flash without having to use your ultimate. Like, those sort of mind games are coming in. It's like, are you going to do it? Am I going to do it? It was good for Cuvee to wait for the start of the animation and flash himself out of the way.
Clown Dragon will go over on the side of Gen.G. That'll be the second one, so that's actually Cloud Drake.
Yeah, that's a real
dragon.
We're moving pretty quick. I want to see a third one. Three Cloud Drakes is my favorite. Triple threat Drakes. 3 Infernals is just too easy.
They put it up there before it was eaten.
Wow.
They're leaking the script.
Yeah?
That's my job.
Oh, I was going to say, like, I feel like this is just jealousy right now.
I'm just getting bitter. Up here, I don't know.
Well, as this game has slowed down so much, who is that benefiting? I'm feeling like Afreeca are going to be pretty comfortable with this game not really going anywhere right now.
They benefited much more because of the Aatrox and the Azir, whereas on the flip side, all that you really have is the Xayah. Yes, the LeBlanc can get scary, and yes, you can delete anyone at any given point, but the Yuumi actually scales really, really, really well against this Gen.G team composition, and so it's a battle of about 3 champions versus 2, but more like 1.5 on the side of Gen.G because Tahm Kench falls off really hard. Rek'Sai begins plummeting after her first 2 core items, and so yeah, they have the Infernal Dragon and they have a massive gold advantage, but the fact that they're not doing anything with it is really problematic. These are actually, interestingly enough, the game states where I heavily advocate freezing side lanes to create neutral objectives in a way. You create an objective for the opponent that they're forced to break or fall down in XP, gold inside of that lane, and you do that when there's no neutral objectives on the map and it's realistically unfathomable that you can eat Baron.
Well, I'm pretty scared for the moment when Afreeca Freecs get the Ardent Sensor on the Yuumi. Because Ardent Sensor on the Lucian is going to be a no-brainer, but Ardent Sensor Azir is disgusting. That is so much damage potential out of Yukal in these team fights. So Gen.G will need to start picking up the pace. Slowly but surely they are extending this lead. It was 4,000 a few minutes ago, now it's 6. But they need to start getting notable objectives, start pushing things forward, because Keen was freely able to take that outer turret on the bottom side of the map. Yes, outer in the mid lane did fall, but breaking this inner ring of turrets is seeming very difficult for Gen.G, despite it being very dark around the Baron.
It's really dark
minutes into the game, can be a dangerous attempt.
The Baron, but the thing is that Gen.G's ability to just do it is not instantaneous. So without any Mountain Drakes on their side, it's not like they shred it in 10 seconds or something of that nature. So the second that Gen.G disappears from the map, you can see that they have 2 blue trinkets on the side of Afreeca. They're able to just utilize them to check it out every 15 seconds or so, or 10 seconds once they disappeared, whatnot, and check, okay, are you on it or are you not on it? And then the blue trinket dissipates, and then you wait and see if they actually come out of the fog, or they don't, you move in. There's a lot of ways of checking it.
Peanut taking a lot of damage there from Keen. Not exactly the best face checks that you can make. Straight into that Aatrox. Cube having some time here on his own bottom side of the map. His Warmogs is now completed, so he's very, very tanky. Prowling Projectile finds life, but doesn't find a lot of damage. And Ruler has almost found his Infinity Edge, so that might be the go button for Gen.G. That'll be an extra full item available for the Xayah. Aiming about to finish his booties, but otherwise not too much more. Then the first 2 items that he managed to get, Sonic Wave doesn't find the mark there as Dread tries to chuck down some wards, but Gen.G have been very diligent in getting as much vision as possible. And as soon as Afreeca puts down a control ward, immediately it is taken away.
Infernal Dragon coming up in 1 minute and 20 seconds, so Ruler has to be careful.
We're looking for the bullet hell combo. Aiming actually holds onto the culling that entire time. It was just the final chapter used from Senate.
So now Ruler,
oh, we've got the double flank coming in though. Cube finds the backline. Kuzan's going to walk over a ward. Yukal sets up the Sun Turret, but Aiming's trying to get in there. He held on to the culling just for this, but it doesn't actually find too many members of Gen.G. Keen still looking for the fight. Kuzan diving on forward, just wants to get the deletion onto Dread. Doesn't find it there. Life still looking for more, doesn't have the quickness. No Feather Storm available. Afreeca still with a lot of buttons of their own. The Zoomies come in to keep Yukal alive. This is the combo that can be very scary, but maybe not at this point. Is that Sun Turret's range? Don't worry, guys, not that far.
Well, James Bond is on the side of Afreeca right now. That's what's
that laser sight.
Yeah.
Real scary stuff. Battle Dance is pretty good at breaking Infernal Chains. Cube wanting to stop some backs here, but isn't able to.
Should still mean that the Infernal comfortably goes over to Gen.G, assuming that Dread is not some sort of a hero. And it doesn't even look like he actually wants to go for it. If he would go for it, fail, die, they would be able to convert immediately into Baron anyway. Yeah, so this is really, really unfortunate. Now, the one little upside, or, well, if you're an Afreeca fan, the one way that you can look at this, though, is that they have some champions that don't really utilize the Infernals that well. Mostly the Tom Kench is only building HP, the Rakan doesn't have any AP ratios coming in right now, so it is still extremely scary on the LeBlanc and the Xayah, who has now just completed her 3rd item.
Even the Rek'Sai, to a certain extent, with the Halo Blades. Having the extra AD can certainly help you out. And Black Cleaver is completed here for Peanut also. Dread's going to get spotted and licked by Cube. Nothing going to come from that one though. Still, 6,000 is going to be the lead. Double Cloud, double Infernal, and we've got our 3rd Cloud Drake on the board. Perfect alternating dragons here today so far. Yeah. Liking it a lot.
It was very windy and then very hot.
It was.
And then very windy.
I call this combo the bushfire.
You like that?
Yeah. Because often it's on fire and it's windy. That's my reasoning.
Okay. Alright. I can get behind that.
Thanks. Actually, being behind a bushfire is a good idea. Don't be in front of it. That's bad news. Senate. Gonna prowl. Prowling Projectile can be pretty useful in this certain circumstance. Because you want to be checking some brushes as Afreeca Freecs going for it. The solo lane's out in force once again, looking for Catfish for dinner. Kuzan's come down towards the bottom side as Gen.G are positioned around this Baron. Cube not going to get Infernal chained, but that Grey Health is going to have to be utilized. He's got such a huge effective health pool as Kuzan wants to get in. Cube is most definitely dead as the auto attacks from Yukal are terrifyingly fast. And Kuzan just couldn't pick a target to kill.
Yeah, and Kuzan wasn't able to get in there. They called in the teleport from aiming just to guarantee that Kuzan wouldn't be able to interfere. Felt like we were just watching one of those like awful videos that sometimes get posted. It's like a 2-on-1 or something. Someone tries to intervene and then someone prevents the person from intervening. That's tragic.
Yeah, he was like, "No, I've got this 1v1, bro." No, that wasn't the case, Cube, unfortunately.
Well, 6,500 gold is the advantage. I actually think Afreeca probably lost out on that in terms of tempo control everywhere else.
Yep.
And so only having to expend one person's life, definitely not the end of the world. You also get the teleport out of aiming, although it doesn't really do that much at 28.5 minutes.
Well, that's actually 2 teleports in one. Likely Senate will be with aiming, so
yeah.
I guess you don't get both Yuumi and Lucian heading in, but she can jump onto Yukal if the Yuumi wants to get around. There's Keen. Very fast members of Gen.G here. The boots of mobility for life means that he's booking it around Summoner's Rift.
And
okay, we've got the start of the fight as aiming dives on out. Keen immediately going to stopwatch, but I have a feeling that is the beginning of the end. That is the first pick off for Gen.G, and this might be a great moment for them. Moving now towards the Baron. What can Afreeca actually do to stop it is the question.
Well, Azir is going to have to be a hero, but you can see that Kuzan is already in position, waiting on the right-hand side for whoever will try to approach. He has to be, everyone has to be so careful.
Yeah, Kuzan just wants to
aiming.
delete one target. He might be able to. Chains don't land, but still a heck of a lot of damage. Yukal completely whiffs the ultimate because he was so terrified, and the Shifting Sands gets them out, and now Gen.G moves straight back to Baron. And this should be, finally, the big purple worm taken down for Gen.G in their first real advantage and inroad in this game.
Teleport coming in from Keen, but oh, actually.
Yeah, Yukal going to turn up 2 seconds on Keen, exactly right. But Yukal has to flash. He doesn't have ult, remember, so he's just in there to die. Unfortunate decision-making there from Yukal, thinking that Senate might have been a little bit more useful than he was, but in the end, he's just a free kill for Gen.G. That Void Rush used from Peanut just to try and get some star points.
And that should probably be the end of the game. There's 33 seconds on the Azir. They might be really careful and try to recall, but with 2 massive Baron waves and so many summoner spells still remaining on the side of Gen.G.
This is at least 2 inhibitors, maybe more. Let's see what Gen.G are actually going to be capable of. Cube flicking the top turret to death as Kuzan's going to land more chains in this mid lane. Now, can they push these minion waves ever forward? Siege minions, we've got quite a few of them hanging around the area, but Gen.G don't want to bite off more than they can chew. They're feeling like 2 inhibs on their first push is pretty good. And Ruler just wants to take this red buff and be on his way. Okay, teleport to come in here as Dread gets the kick flash. We're looking for the final chapter, but Ruler is good positioning right now. Throws out the Feather Storm. That's a decent route onto Keen, who flashes. Ruler's going to flash at the right time. Can he actually get these autos? The Abyssal Voyage, and Ruler survives. The last 20 minutes of this game have been amazing from this guy.
Yeah, well, at this point, Afreeca's probably tilted now going into game number 2 after that. Well, I mean, that was a team effort and a team failure.
To go from a 20 CS lead over this guy on the bottom side of the map to getting this obliterated by this one dude, yeah, that's a tilter. That is definitely a tilter.
You have to wonder why Afreeca is this far up, farming a wave that was coming into their tier 2 turret anyway. This is actually a really, really common mistake. I remember another instance of this that sticks out in my mind was Prey. Solo throwing a game for KT by farming a wave really far up, even though the wave is coming in. It's a pretty common mistake in pro play.
Ow. That's boom goes the dynamite right there. That is a Runon's Hurricane picked up, as well as a BF sword for Ruler. That's why he managed to one-shot Yukal right there, and this game is most definitely over. The last inhibitor turret will be taken down. Gen.G are playing this one by the numbers. They've lost 2 turrets and 1 kill, and they've taken everything else on this map. Afreeca Freecs just have to watch on as Gen.G close in and take down game number 1. Cube's so huge in the front line. Kuzan's going to pop the Aatrox, make him look like a support with that health bar just evaporating, and Ruler, anything he touches will just melt. Nexus turret number 2. The Nexus will be the...
There's a really slow start all around where every lane was actually losing, including the jungle, but then there was the one gank with Peanut where they end up relieving all of the pressure. Then there was the Herald fight where Life turned everything around, and then from that point on, there was just no salvaging.